from bones to ligaments, tissue donation can help the lives of so many people.
Yes, absolutely. So one donor has the opportunity to help 75 or more people through that gift. And to point out one of the things that Jennifer talked about, just education is so important. One thing that we also stress to people that if you do join the registry, it's great to have a conversation with your family about that. So that way it takes the burden of that decision off of them at the time that you do pass away. So your family knows exactly what it is that you would have wanted. In addition to the tissues that you mentioned, we can also recover heart valves, we can recover veins. These are life-saving surgeries that help to restore blood flow, prevent amputation. They are used to save many lives, especially children when it comes to heart valves. We also recover skin, which people often know about with folks who've been victims of burns and other types of trauma, to help as a protective barrier to prevent infection and other complications. And then we also can recover nerves that can help to restore sensation and mobility. There are just so many different uses for tissue. So it's just an extraordinary opportunity to be able to help a patient in need.
Yeah, and so you talked about the importance of making sure that your family knows what you want. How do you go about having that conversation?
You know, so I'm a strange bird. So I think that any opportunity that you can gather with your family and really sit down and be intentional about it. Last year, for example, I was together with my family for Thanksgiving for the first time in a long time. And we sat down at the table and we had a conversation about what we would want at the end of our life. And I think that's one way to do it, to just be intentional about that conversation and to make the time to tell whoever your loved ones are, I've made the decision to help save lives through organ, eye, and tissue donation. I joined my state registry, and I wanted you to be aware of the decision that I made.
What's the difference between tissue donation versus organ donation?
That's a great question. So people often think of organ donation as an opportunity for one person to save 8 lives. So you usually have one organ recovered from that donor. That one organ is transplanted into a recipient. With tissue donation, you also have a one-to-many type of donation, but really it's one individual tissue that's recovered, can be fashioned into grafts that can be used for a multitude of reasons. So for example, if we recover bone, that bone might be fashioned into something like a spinal fusion graft, or it can be made into powder or paste or putty to help people who have damage to their bones through trauma or cancer. So think of like one tissue that's recovered can actually have multiple uses for that tissue itself, which in turn helps multiple individuals.
What can be a gift for one family can be an incredibly tough decision for another. Coming up, one mother shares her daughter's story and legacy.
Lolly Gomez has been advocating as a TOSA volunteer for the past 20 years. Talking to people about how becoming an organ donor can change lives is her passion.
There's a lot of myths, there's a lot of misconceptions about becoming an organ donor. Yeah. And some, we try to get those answered for the potential donor registered. And after hearing the answer, then it gives them peace of mind to sign to become a registered donor.
Her support for organ, tissue, and eye donation started on June 28, 2003, when she was approached by members from the Texas Organ Sharing Alliance, or TOSA, to see if she would consider donating her daughter's organs.
My daughter was 20 years old. She loved life and lived life to the fullest. At that age, they want to just do what they want to do. And because of that, I respected her wishes.
Yvette was preparing for a weekend volleyball tournament, and the Wednesday before the game, Lolly talked with Yvette about how she planned to get there. She said she arranged for a friend to pick her up, but something about that moment didn't feel right with Lolly.
She wanted to eat enchiladas before she went to play her tournament. So we were in the kitchen cooking, and something in me just told me to say these words. And I'm a big believer of signs. Not knowing that that was going to be my sign to her from God, I asked her that I did not want her to go on the motorcycle to the volleyball tournament or come back with her friend on the motorcycle, because I was afraid to get that call that no mom would want to ever get.
There was a family softball game on the Friday before Yvette's volleyball tournament. Lala remembers the fun and excitement everyone was having, but she also remembers the small spat before Yvette left with her friend to the tournament.
Friday night we played softball, and she went about her merry way. She did leave a little angry, although because she wanted to play catcher. I was playing the role as a catcher on the softball team, so we placed her to play outfield. So she was still a little upset at me at the end of the game, but nevertheless we hugged and said goodbye, be careful. Little did I know that that was the last time I was going to see her alive.
During the early morning of June 28, 2003, Lolly received the phone call she dreaded. On the other line was Yvette's best friend trying to explain what happened.
At 2:30 in the morning, and that's the exact time that I had that talk with her on that Wednesday, is I didn't want to get that phone call at 2 or 2:30 in the morning. And I did. I received that call about 2:30 in the morning on Saturday morning after our softball game on Friday night. And it was her best friend, crying, telling me that she had been injured and for me to rush to BAMC Hospital. Upon arriving, the doctors did gather the family and give us the news that she was brain dead.
Becoming an organ donor wasn't something Yvette had always thought about or even discussed with her family.
She had not made that to be her wish to be a donor. So we talked to, I'll never forget his name was Mike, and he explained to us what TOSA did and what the statistics were about organ and tissue and eye donation. It was immediately a yes for our family, and that is how I became involved. My daughter saved 5 lives.
Lolly's beautiful, free-spirited daughter, Yvette, who lived the life to the fullest, changed the lives of 5 other people. Through the gift of organ donation, Yvette became a heart, lung, kidney, and pancreas donor. Lolly says she still keeps in touch with the people who received her daughter's heart and lungs. The recipients are like extended family members to Lolly and her family, and she's comforted to know that her daughter's donations has given each recipient a second chance at life, allowing them to reach milestones in their lives.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing that we were able to provide a second chance of life to those that have received her organs.
Yvette continues to touch the lives of people who know her story. Lolly personally acknowledges the importance of becoming an organ donor. She's registered now, but says it wasn't until after her daughter's accident.
I am a registered donor, and I became a registered donor after my daughter's accident. It changed the perspective for the entire family and friends, co-workers, strangers, you know, so it did change us. It did see us. We did learn a lot, and we're still learning, you know, because every day is a learning day.
Yvette is Lolly's only daughter. She admits sharing her story is painful, but it gives her and the family joy to know Yvette's life still lives on in others. For Lolly, reaching just one person and changing their mind about becoming a registered organ and tissue donor brings her the greatest satisfaction.
I would like to encourage the public to please sign up to become a registered donor. It has meant the world of difference to our family. It allows us to heal at the same time, and you just never know whose life you will change.
We'll hear more from Lolly and her family's decision to give another family a new life right after the break. It might be tough for people to comprehend, you know, I lost my loved one and I made the decision to give the gift of life to someone else by donating their organs. And, you know, some people might shut that away and just move on, but you've made this part of your story.
Yes, ma'am. It's been 20 years, almost 21 years that I've been sharing my story about my daughter to bring awareness to many, not only family members, but also to strangers.
You're an aftercare volunteer, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What has been your experience working with aftercare volunteers?
It's been a great experience. I love the staff. And this is one way that I can give back to the community also. is by sharing my story, not only of my mother, but also, not only of my daughter, but also of my mother. My daughter did save 5 lives, so I want to share that with others that have a misconception about getting on the registering as an organ donor. And then I come and let them know also about the story about my mother. My mother was a cornea and tissue donor as well. So I've got 2 stories to tell, and a lot of folks are on the fence about becoming registered donors. And when I tell them my story, majority of the time they will sign up to become registered donors.
I'm just curious, was your mother inspired by your daughter's donation?
Well, my mother's death happened suddenly. So she was not able to become an organ donor because she died on impact. So we were able to sign. Well, I didn't know until my dad presented me with her medallion that he received from the eye bank, and because he was the next of kin, he made the decision for Mama to be a tissue and eye donor.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Organ donors like Lolly's mother and daughter can help save up to 8 lives. And more than 100,000 people are waiting for a life-saving transplant. Coming up, how you can register to potentially help. Registering to become an organ and tissue donor takes just a couple of moments, but it can make a big difference in someone's life. Those 18 and older can register in the National Donate Life Registry as organ, eye, and tissue donors. That's regardless of age or medical history. 15 to 17-year-olds can also register their intent to donate in the National Registry, but a final decision on donation would be up to a parent or legal guardian. We have a link to the National Donate Life Registry on our website, KSAT.com. I'm Danielle Ibarra. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm so glad Daniela was able to do that and bring those experts in. Obviously, we've been covering this pretty extensively. Actually, before we did this live stream last week, I got to do an incredible story that I just had to get it in here and talk about. There is a university hospital and university health doctor who works on the team that coordinates transplant patients with donors, living donors. They hiked to the peak of Kilimanjaro just about a month ago.
That is insane. So you and I were talking a little bit during the commercial break. How much training? Like, what do they have to go through?
So much training. And I think one of the myths that we talked about, especially for living donors, this woman, this doctor, incredible, gave her own kidney to a stranger.
Oh my goodness.
And so she wanted people to know it's not a myth. It's a myth that you can't live a normal life.
Right.
And so they hiked to Kilimanjaro. She trained for months. And then they did the whole entire thing.
That's
kidney.
so inspiring.
Any donors can do anything. You can live a normal life. Just think about it. And you can look that up on University Health's website.
That's incredible. We'll leave you with one last look at the 7-day. Plenty to talk about when it comes to more humidity and even some rain chances next week. We'll have those details on the night feed.